Let's take you to this now. ActionSA will unveil its Johannesburg mayoral candidate today ahead of the local government elections. The party says the announcement follows what it describes as a rigorous internal selection process. It claims its candidate will offer a credible alternative to what it calls failed politics in the city. ActionSA has promised a clear and actionable plan to turn around service delivery in Johannesburg. Newzroom Afrika's Katleho is on the ground for us in Orlando, Soweto. Ahead of that announcement, a very good morning to you, Katleho. What's the significance of today's announcement by ActionSA and what can we expect?
A very good morning, Katleho. A big day for ActionSA here today in Orlando East, where members of the public are actually starting to stream into the hall, and this is where the party will finally make its Joburg mayoral candidate announcement here ahead of the local government elections. It's been a long time coming as ActionSA looks to clinching the metro ahead of the elections because it's an important one within Gauteng, which is the economic hub of the country. And just to give you a sense of the stage behind me, Katleho, if you can see, it's almost staged like a boxing ring, giving you a sense that ActionSA is getting ready for a fight as they head towards the local government elections. And so we heard on Monday, earlier on this week, that the candidates that have been fielded, or some of the leaders which have been fielded for this very position, include Mr. Michael Beaumont, Party President Herman Mashaba, Lerato Ngobeni, Funzi Ngobeni, as well as Daryline James. But I do have with me one of the leaders of the party, Mr. Michael Beaumont, to give us more details. Michael, thank you for your time. You're one of the leaders who are in the running to become the Joburg mayor. Tell us about the process this week and the vetting process that took place for you to be able to get into that position.
Well, it's been an extensive process. It goes back a number of weeks, and I think what's really exciting about it from a resident perspective is that every candidate was required to produce a turnaround plan. How is Johannesburg going to be turned around? How are basic services going to be rolled out? How is the water crisis going to be resolved? And how are we going to stabilize the city's finances and fight corruption? And I think that's the way to choose a candidate. Those plans have been presented to the panel's deliberated over time, they've made their decision, but what's important about today is we all come together. We will stand behind the candidate who is chosen, and we'll work together to make sure we fix Joburg, because that's what the residents require of us.
Now, Michael, it's not new that many of the metros after local government elections will be coalition-led. In Joburg, how do you see navigating the coalition space?
Well, I think we see a very clear pattern that coalitions that have been led by the ANC or the DA are failing in this province. The Dada Mareros, the Kakazas, the Tanya Campbells, the Solium Samangas, they've all broken municipalities. And really, it's the metros led by people like Nasipi Moya in Tshwane, or Herman Mashaba during his time in Joburg, that demonstrate an ability to lead in a coalition environment and deliver services. So the message today to the residents has got to be, if we've always voted the way we've always voted, we're always going to suffer the way we've always suffered. We need to unite behind a third way, and we want to present ourselves as that third way.
And Michael, speaking of Ms. Nasipi Moya, we see the success of some of her successes in Tshwane, and as a party you've made it very clear you're very proud of the work she's done there. What are the tips or the things she's done there that perhaps the Joburg mayor can take on as they lead?
Well, it's from the same playbook. There has been a prioritization of funding away from the wastages and luxuries towards service delivery. The budget for infrastructure has gone up from 1.1 to 1.6 billion rand. Already the Auditor General is reporting on improved audit outcomes, which means the city is spending and accounting for its money better than it has in the past. The debt is being brought down because you can't deliver services if you're going to owe Eskom 7 billion rand, which is what was allowed to accrue from 2020 until 2024. And all of these things are demonstrations that we're starting to climb that mountain. We're very much feet on the ground. There's very big problems in that city. The electricity instability is something that everyone is seized by. We are humbled by the fact that there's a lot of work to be done, but I think for the first time in a long time, people in that city are seeing progress, and it's something that can see the green shoots of service delivery in their city.
Yeah. And I guess just another one, Michael, one of the big issues in Joburg is the water crisis. We heard from the president that he'll be chairing that committee, so national government getting quite involved at a local government level. With an ActionSA mayoral candidate, if you were to get into that position, how would you work with National?
Well, I think you've got to work with different spheres of government, whether they're from your party or not. You have to have that relationship. I'm quite cynical of the president chairing any committee. You might remember he was the one chairing the ESCOM committee on load shedding when we were hitting stages 6 and 7. So his track record in this regard is hardly something to be proud of. But let's focus on what a Joburg mayor could do. Herman Mashaba was the mayor, and in his time, he was replacing 200 kilometers of the city's oldest water pipes, the ones that leaked and burst the most every year. That number right now has come down to 17 kilometers per year. And that is just a function of failure to budget for the infrastructure priorities of our city. And really, we have to understand that in an environment where the demands vastly exceed the budget, we have to prioritize. We need to say, these things will be the nice to haves we'll do in years to come. Right now, we need to put everything we can behind fixing our infrastructure and getting a return on that investment.
And talking about fixing infrastructure, to say, I mean, the president did say they're looking at taking consequences against municipal managers who didn't use their budgets to upgrade water infrastructure, and what's led to the crisis now. I mean, can the president be given some credit in that regard?
Look, I want to be positive, but I think ultimately these are words that we've seen bandied around time and time again, because this exists right now. We have the ability for irregular, fruitless, unauthorized and wasteful expenditure classified by the Auditor General to be pursued by municipal councils. But the problem is the leadership of municipalities. South Africa's greatest crisis has become the collapse of municipal governance in their city. And at the end of the day, the decision still lies with those municipal councils to go after somebody for failure. And what we have seen is an erosion between the state and the municipal manager and the structures there in such a way that they are party protected and people don't go after those failures the way they should.
And I guess just a last one, heading towards the local government elections, your message to the public as they think about who to vote for?
Well, I think South Africans have become so depressed by the state of service delivery at local government level and the broken promises. They're starting to see political parties campaigning with new promises that they're layering on top of the old ones they've broken before. And all we can do in that environment is urge South Africans, vote for something that is tried and tested, vote for something that you know has a track record. Because if it's been done before, it can do it again. And that's why we're here to say today, Herman Mashaba has done it before, ActionSA can do it again.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you. So there you've heard it, Katleho, from Mr. Michael Beaumont, who's actually one of the leaders of the party, who's running as a candidate for the Joburg mayoral position. And that announcement will finally be made here today. And the party looking towards the local government elections, as Mr. Beaumont has said there, to fix service delivery challenges that exist within the city, and certainly borrowing from some of the successes they've seen with their own candidate in Tshwane, Ms. Nasipi Moya. And we'll hear who that candidate is today later on.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting to see who will be going against or who the DA has put in as their candidate and who the ANC will then later announce as their mayoral candidate for the city of Johannesburg. Sekhtho bringing us the latest with regards to that announcement that will take place a little later on today by ActionSA.